Well, hello, and welcome to Your Business, Your Wealth. I am so happy to be here with all of you and with Corey. I am, now you guys probably hear this about a week after we've recorded, but I just spent the last week mostly sitting inside, not talking to anybody because I got the Rona. But
it was the most peaceful and relaxing week that I've had in a long time. The record.
Yeah, our employees on Glassdoor just drove us up to umpteen stars because I wasn't around, and we got more productive. I didn't spend any company money, so I think profitability went up. It was really like the clouds cleared, lights shined down.
I learned French. That's great.
yeah, just because there wasn't emails coming from me. Well, I am just excited to be back, and it is no joke. I wanted to earn my natural immunity. It was earned in my case. Like some people are like, I had a headache 2 days. Like, well, I mean, I wasn't like super. My wife is still hurting. We got some new therapeutics coming for her today. But for me, like, holy mackerel, I was just tired and couldn't hardly, like, not a sore throat, but just every time I talk, I get so wiped out. So in any case, I have now watched Squid Games, Corey. I watched
it's going to be Squid Games characters for Halloween? Get those masks?
Not a chance. Not a chance. We're going as Romans because for homeschool, we did this thing that was Toga Day. So my wife in her brilliance said, we'll just get Centurion outfits and then we'll wear that for Halloween.
Nice.
But actually, let's see, it's 26. Yeah, we might be able to trick or treat. We'll be totally out of our quarantine and all that. So, but anyway, that's what's been going on with me. But for all of you, we have something really special today. And that is to be able to spend some time talking to you about how most people totally foul up taking their Social Security. And we're going to demonstrate how even the online calculators do a garbage job of being able to help you make good assessments. Now, I'm going to be a little more inflammatory this time than Corey usually lets me. He feels bad because I've been sick and cooped up.
I know now we're going to get it all.
Yep, back. Here goes. Yeah, I haven't been talking to anybody for a while, and now I'm talking to everybody. So this is not going to be quite as long as our usual podcast, I don't think. But we're going to dig right in, and where we are
as long as we're usually trying to make them.
Yeah. So we're going to go right to the aptly named Motley Fool. Now, I don't mean to dig on the Motley Fool website just on their name, but this is not what we're going to talk about. It's not something unique to Motley Fool. You can go to nearly any Social Security article that's out there, where they paid some blogger, $100 to get something else out there that, according to SEO, is going to get them more clicks. So here's how they walk it through in this article. Which, by the way, if you want a lesson in like website marketing, just scroll through the Motley Fool. Like, holy mackerel. We got personal capital at the top. We've got these little red things like Motley Fool issues rare all in buy alert. I should probably click on that. I'm worried about how to maximize my Social Security, so I'm just going to go speculate on some stock.
Right.
And so if I get down here and I'm just scrolling down, it says plan to work 35 years. These are your tips. I don't know. For most of our clients, that doesn't seem super attractive if they could help it and not have to work 35 years. Earn the maximum taxable amount. Well, okay. Now, not everybody has that choice.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think somebody could take this article to their boss and say, hey, part of my retirement plan is I need to make the maximum Social Security. And they're like, listen, you're flopping whoppers here, buddy. We can't get you to the maximum Social Security.
Right.
And then this last one, wait until you're 70. Okay, and this is where we're going to spend a majority of our time today. At age 62, maximum benefit is $2,324. What's that annually, Corey?
Oh, that is something about 27,888.
Perfect, just approximately. And then how much is it at age 70 annually? It says 3,895.
46,740.
Okay. So you look 27,000 versus 40 some thousand. It really looks like a huge gap. And of course I should wait to be able to take that money. And in fact, here's a calculator, and you can find lots of these calculators online. All you need to do is Google Social Security benefit calculator. And so I just put this in. Somebody's 62. They've been making the Social Security max. In this case, I just did male, 90s, single, just make the calculation easy. If you claim at age 62, they're like, listen, you're only going to get $932,000. Now, these are not the same numbers as that other article, just demonstrating how these calculators work. So claim as early as you can. It's $923,000. And they say, but if you wait till full retirement age, you get $1.1 million. And then if you wait until age 70, your maximum benefit time, you get $1,239,000.
Now that's assuming you live
to age 90.
All the way to age 90. And that's just a straight line adding up all those payments, right?
Payments, yep.
Yeah.
But one thing we know, there is a long-time economics principle that is far too often left out of personal finance, and that is lost opportunity cost and time value of money. And that is that if I have $10 today, that's worth a lot more to me than $10 in 10 years. And if we have $10 in 10 years, that's going to be, it could be diminished by inflation, but we're leaving inflation out of these calculations because they impact the numbers similarly.
All of it the same anyway. Yeah.
Yep. But 10 years from now means 10 years I didn't get to use that money. And so what we do is we assign a cost of money. Now, what we don't realize is that inside our brains, we do this 100% of the time anyway. And I'll give you an example. If, let's say, you had an option, Corey, to go buy, you just needed to get a car. And the difference between the prices of two cars was $20,000. And your alternative of where you could park that $20,000 was only going to make you 0.1%. So that's one scenario. In the other scenario, if you didn't buy the more expensive car, just different investment environment, you could get 20% on that money. Which one of those situations would you rather own more car?
I think I know what you're saying. I could maybe.
If you only think you know what you're saying, then gosh bless, our audience is going to be host. Let me try again.
Let me say it this way. Warren Buffett is famous for, he gets the same $10 haircut every month from the same barber in Omaha. And he says, because it's not a $10 haircut, it's by think of what that $10 could earn for me over the next 30 years. It's like a $500 haircut.
Yeah. And as old as he is, he should go ahead and get a $50 haircut now.
Well, I've talked to clients before who like are into buying a really great new car. Like for younger folks like us, that car is way more expensive than if you're 60. Because you're giving up so much more time that money could have earned something for you.
And every time that you make a decision, you're making that time value money decision. Like, do I want this money right now to invest or build for the future? Or do I want that car? That's an internal calculation. So even if you spend the money, like you didn't invest it, there's still a time value of money of real economic impact in your life. But what you'll notice, and we're not going to bore you by jumping into all the disclosures on this calculator, but needless to say, there's zero time value of money calculation. It's just the hard dollar payments. So Corey, in his spreadsheet wizardry, he built us this great little scenario. I'm going to make this just slightly bigger for everybody so they can see it. Now,
if you don't mind, I'd rather be the sorcerer of spreadsheets because I can't turn down some alliteration if I have the chance. So Just
Man.
just saying.
I'm gonna when I get done here, I'm gonna ask my homeschool kids what an alliteration is. But
Nice.
they'll
know.
They'll know. Well, yeah. Well, you know how Corey knows?
Because I met your kids. They're smart cookies.
No, the reason you know, you were homeschooled.
I was homeschooled for a bit. Yeah, that's true.
So, age 62, we start getting our payment of $27,888. And then what our calculation is doing is at the end of that year, all those payments have no interest because they're just coming in monthly. We didn't want to misrepresent the calculation. And then the following year, that year's payments gets its 6.5% interest. And then the next year payment comes in, and then that process repeats. So it's just compounding at 6.5% as if the money all came in at year end. So we're not accidentally juicing these numbers.
Right. So for anyone who's super numbers, like trying to dive in deep on this, if we were using this for actually planning your income for retirement, we're understating it because you'd be getting it every month and getting some interest every month. But we're doing it to all of them just for simplicity. So the comparison between all of them is constant. Just for anyone who's listening.
Perfect.
Who's into that. Yeah.
Oh, man. For our audience that's watching this on video, I just did some stuff where I was actually able to move you and I around, Corey. So we're on a different part of the screen than usual. So now what we're comparing it to is like, well, what if, and we're taking the numbers right from the Motley Fool article. Mm-hmm. Remember the Motley Fool article where they said, wait until when? Age 70. Okay, so then it starts at age 65. That's your $34,000, 66, $37,000 payment. And at age 70, $46,000 payment. I'm going to take you guys back real quick and just show that is the same ages and amounts that were used here in the Motley Fool article. Mm-hmm. So back to spreadsheet. What'd you want to be called?
Sorcery. The sorcerer of spreadsheets.
Sorcerer of spreadsheets. Yeah. I like that. Okay. So now we start getting at age 34, but you can see we got 34,000 at age 65, but the person that started at age 62's already got 122,000. And then let's go to where age 66 occurs. And the person that started at age 62 now has almost 160,000, where of course the age 66 person just got their first 37,000. And now let's compare the age 70 person who just got their first payment. They held on.
Yeah.
Can we say diamond hands for Social Security? Yeah, diamond hands for Social Security. And those diamond hands got them $46,000. But the person that just pulled the trigger early is already at $327,000 compounding time value of money going into the future.
So most people are comparing that 27,888 to the 46,700. Look at that gap. But the real gap you should compare is 327 to 46,007.
Well, and I want to touch on something you said there, Corey, which is that's how most people do the calculation, but it's because the financial media is just not giving you the tools to even make the gosh blessed assessment. They're just not giving you the tools. I've yet to read an article, and I've been doing this. Corey, I've been doing this 25 years now.
It's great.
I didn't realize that. That happened in May. I didn't even think about that. Anyway, 25 years doing this, never read an article once that says, oh, here's how you calculate time value of money and the importance of that. So,
it's okay. He doesn't remember his own birthday either. So
this is true. Yeah. So let's get down here to age 80. So let's say we live to age 80. Which one of these decisions turned out better? Well, now we have 990,000 to our early person, 910, 909, and our person that waited, they're only at 718,000. They waited till age 70. Now, here's a couple of other things. One, and I'd love to hear you guys just put something in the comment section on this. Do you think Social Security is going to keep its viability the way we know it today for the next 30 years? Do you think that? We'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Second, do you think there's a chance that as a result of the problems in Social Security, like you guys, what many of you may not know, is the reason we don't get Social Security statements in the mail anymore is because around 2013, 2014, they started putting on there that the whole program runs out of money at this future date. I think at the time it was 2037, where it's like this little tiny disclosure, like you see on a mutual fund statement. And it says at this point, this year, that's where we're going to have more money going out than coming in, because there is no Social Security Trust Fund. I don't know if everybody knows that. But every year that there's been a surplus in Social Security taxes, you know what they do with it? Because lots of years, like right now, there's actually more money coming into Social Security taxes than it's going out. But that's going to reverse somewhere in 2030-ish.
Yeah.
So this is pop quiz. This is something I read preparing for this. What does the U.S. government do if... I know I'm totally.
I haven't read
it.
Like, I'm actually in suspense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think I'll tell you what I thought, Corey. I thought for sure it meant, they just like set it aside to pay out later. Nope. General motherfucking fund of the U.S. Treasury spent on whatever they want. It's just extra tax money. Now, how they do that is they're like, they needed money and they just like take out like, I don't know, scrap. They're like, take out a scrap of paper and there's like, I owe you Social Security, sincerely the Fed. And then
you know what it actually sounds like is Arrested Development. I just take $1 out of the banana stand and throw away a banana to hide it.
I love that. Well, here is, as nobody does this calculation of the time value of money, and nobody's thinking about, is Social Security really going to pay me? Which, by the way, for most of our listeners, I know that you all are planning on having enough money that Social Security is just a bit of a kicker. Corey, I haven't talked about this fantasy in a long time.
Oh, remember, everyone's listening. I know.
Okay. I know. My fantasy? Let's get a bunch of our clients together for an annual trip. Once we got lots and lots of people taking Social Security, we'll do an annual trip to Vegas. And one night, now this key is we have to have 38 or 39 people. I think 38 does it. Everybody gets their Social Security payments for the year in cash and brings it to Vegas. And we all hang out, have nice dinners, spend time together, do some fun stuff. And then that night, after dinner, we all go out to a roulette table together. And we cover every individual number and the zeros and double zeros. Everybody puts their entire year's Social Security. Because our clients, the goal is we don't need it in retirement.
Right.
So we get together, we put all our numbers on the roulette wheel, one spin. And the deal is whoever hits it, because it's 36-1, and on, let's just take like one of these lower numbers, equals this times 36 equals 1.2 million. Whoever wins, we walk right over to the Ferrari dealership in the Wynn, and somebody buys a Ferrari. And then for the rest of their life, when somebody says, how in the hell did you get a Ferrari? That's Social Security. Okay. So.
I like that. That's pretty good odds on a Ferrari.
It is. Yeah. 1 in 36. So even at age 90, you're still ahead by having taken it at age 92 or at 62.
Right. And if you don't live, if something happens and you aren't lucky enough to live until 90, then you're still a lot further ahead. Now, there are some things to think about. Please, no one use this as your only Social Security planning tool, because you got to talk to an advisor about, there might be something to think about with how if you're still working at 62 and getting taxed, then there might be some differences to the break even. Also, if you've really had let's say 62 is the year that your income jumps, you've been way below the full taxable amount, and now you're way above, then we do need to think about how much more it could be at 70 because you're racking on those extra years of work at a much higher income. Like there's things like that need to come into the equation, but this is a really important piece that everybody seems to leave out.
Well, and that's the thing, is that this is the one thing that applies to everybody, the time value of money. It impacts all of us all the time. We talk about it a ton. We hear other people talk about it, crickets. And even the thing that Corey just said, like you hardly ever see an article that talks about if you need more earning years. Or it gives lip service like to that one part of this article is like, you got to work 35 years. Like just casually. So you also need to save, invest, work hard, and be diligent for 40 years. Or maybe if you have a commitment to excellence in life, maybe just all the years.
Right.
But like other than that, like that, I think we just write a book on success, Corey. 300 blank pages. Just that. 40 years of hard diligence.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Well, I think we have covered this thoroughly. This is why you've got to be cautious about accepting incomplete advice from pithy articles. Because if you can't see how they did the math, because if you sit down and did like the calculation of how they're saying it, or even you didn't need anything fancy, simple spreadsheet, not even a time value of money calculation. And if you laid that out a little bit, you'd go, wait, there's something missing. You would have thought of what we're talking about right now. If we just took out a yellow pad and a simple calculator, you would probably have said, I think something's missing here. Because like, isn't getting money earlier better? And that's the difference, because it's so easy. And this is what the media would love all of us to do. Now, by the way, it's not just the media. The financial institutions would like this also, and the car dealerships. Everybody would love it if you shut down your critical thinking when you enter into a conversation, when you engage in an article, when you watch a video, when you walk into the car dealership, and just pausing long enough to say, okay, I need to do some math here. Which reminds me of this very short story where I went into a Ford dealership, and at the time I had this gas-guzzling F-350 we used for our RV. Incidentally, my favorite vehicle ever. But I was driving a decent amount, so I was like, well, I'll get a little hybrid or something like that. And I went into the same Ford dealership and chatted with them. And they said, well, it's just 3.2% lease. That's what they called it. But what they don't calculate is that lease charge at the beginning is a part of the interest rate. Mm-hmm. And I sat down and did the math, and I said, this is like a 15%. Oh, blasted Siri. Hang on. I can't say seriously. Did the math. It came out to be 13%. It's so rare that people have their brains and a calculator with them when they go to a car dealership. I walked in that same car dealership to get another car 4 or 5 years later because our needs had changed. I needed one to tow behind the RV. Still remembered me. They didn't remember me. When I brought up to the guy, I said, I don't know if you'd remember me. He says, I think so. I think I'd grown the beard out. He hadn't seen me with a beard. I said, when you were selling me that little hybrid, I did the math and showed that the lease was like 13.5%. He says, oh my gosh, we still talk about that. That's how rare it is. That's not, I don't mean that to be like, oh, it's amazing, Paul, to remember you. It's amazing that nobody does it. That's why I stood out in their memory. So for all of you, just keep all that critical thinking on. Play with it. When you read a financial article, see if you can do some math. See if you can see something differently than what you might have normally seen. And then always do not hesitate. If you haven't worked with us before and you're considering it, reach out. I mean, Corey's a super, super, super amazing guy and does an amazing job of leading our team. And I have a great beard. I would highly encourage you to find somebody like one of us two people to be able to help you be in a position that you can actually live the rest of your life with an amount of freedom, independence, and security that is not going to be available if we just execute our financial lives by default or by soundbite. And as always, from Corey and me, Everybody's Sound Financial Group, we just hope that this has been a contribution to you being able to design and build a good life.